Welcome back. We hope you are enjoying this course, Introduction to the Java Programming Language, presented by Coding Bootcamps. This is session 6, working with arrays. So our recap is getting longer and longer. We know about computer architecture, installing Eclipse or other IDEs. We know about classes, instantiating objects. We know about loops. We know about if statements, conditions. We know about the main method. We know about declaring methods. So we're really starting to advance in writing Java applications. In this discussion, we're going to go over purpose of arrays, declaring and instantiating arrays, passing arrays to methods, multidimensional arrays, variable length argument lists, using command line arguments, and environmental variables. The materials are just these PowerPoint slides and lab reference materials. So what is an array? Well, an array is actually a data structure. So far we've talked about variables where the variables equal to only one value. So integer are set to only one number, string variables are set to one string of text. But an array is a structure, a data structure, where you could have several different values. So you could have a list of items. You can think of it as a spreadsheet, columns in a spreadsheet where there are several values there. And you could see here that we have an array. This is obviously an integer array. So one name has 6 different values. So the way that we need to declare and instantiate an array. So to use an array in a program, we must declare a variable to reference the array, then specify the type of array. So here we have a double, and we're calling it mylist, or you can also declare it this way as well. It says here works, but not the preferred way. We see the preferred way. So the previous statement does 2 things. It creates an array using a new character, and we have an array of double data, and we would have the array size. It assigns the reference of the newly created array to the variable mylist, and declaring an array variable, creating an array, and assigning the reference of the array to the variable can be combined all in one statement. So we can see it all here. Just different ways to go ahead and do that. So processing an array. So when processing array elements, we can use loops. So the for loop or the for each loop is definitely a favorite to work with the arrays. There are lots of out-of-the-box methods that come with our that just come with Java that help us out. So we can see here in this class, we're declaring a double and called mylist, and we see our list of doubles here. And here we are able, on mylist, we're able to call the length method, which returns the length of the array. So in our case, looks like our array length is 4, and we can iterate through it, and we can actually output each element of the array. Again, we have our for loop again, and we have mylist, and we can call the method length on it, and we can add everything on here. So we can, the plus equals is shorthand for adding one element in a list to another, and then we can put out the total of all of the elements in the list. And then here we are actually looking for the maximum. So we are initializing maximum, and then we are again iterating through looking for the maximum. So we're testing the greater than, using the greater than on all of the items that we've looked at, and then we're printing out what the max is, we're printing out what the total is, and printing out what the list of arrays, this array listing. So you can pass arrays to methods. Arrays are data. So just like we have normal variables that we can pass into methods and return from methods, we can do the same thing with arrays. Arrays are just multidimensional variables. So we can see here that we have our public static void print array, and we're passing in an integer array here. And then we are looping through that array, and we are printing the elements. And we can see here the output. If once we put in this, we actually have to pass in this this array here, which will be up here, and then we'll get this printout. So a method may also return an array. So we can see down here that we have this this header right here, and it for our loop. And you can see this is a little fancy. It has the I's and the J's in there, interestingly enough. And what we are doing here is we're taking a list and we're assigning it to a result. So we have these two arrays right here. And you can also have multidimensional arrays. So a multidimensional array is like a table. So if we think of a table with rows and columns, same thing for our multidimensional array here. So you can see here a column of data. So we have 6 rows. The 6 here are similar or analogous to the rows and to the columns. So this can actually hold 30 different numbers, and these correspond to the column and the row. So we can select each data in each of the cells of this table by passing in its location, its row, and its column. And then there's variable length argument lists. So programmers can create methods that receive an unspecified number of arguments. That sounds like it would be something that would come up quite a bit. And an argument followed by an ellipsis in a method's parameter list indicates that the method receives a variable number of arguments of a particular type. So it can receive, this list can receive an unspecified number of doubles. We can see it right here. So there's an unspecified list of doubles. Programmers can use the method overloading and array passing to accomplish much of what is accomplished by this var args, variable arguments or variable length argument list. Using an ellipse in the method's parameter ellipse is considered to be more concise. So a Java application can accept any number of arguments from the command line. So we can go out to the command line and we can type 10, 20, 100 different characters on there. This allows the user to specify configuration information when the application is launched. If the user enters command line arguments when invoking the application and specifies them after the name of the class to be run. So you can see here that even in the main method, we have a string array right here. So for our assignment, we'll go over this lab shortly. What we're going to do is write statements to declare an integer array called nums with 40 elements, and then write the statements to store the values 1 through 40 in the elements of nums. So it'll be an integer array, and it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Add 10 to each entry of the array numbers, then print the numbers. So we'll take a look at an example. And then we want to write the statements to declare an array of 10 strings, store the words first, second, third, fourth in the array, and call print strings on our array. So we'll output that. And one other thing, arrays are 0 indexed. So the first element is the 0th element. The second element in the array would be the first. So we talked about the purpose of the arrays. Again, they are multi-dimensional variables. So instead of when we declare a variable with not just one, we could have 2, 3, 4 different values for a single variable. Declaring and instantiating arrays. We talked about passing arrays to methods, multi-dimensional arrays, very, very similar to tables, where they are essentially tables, behave like tables. Variable length argument lists, command line arguments, and environmental variables. Again, we've talked about this, but check your learning materials for your private tutoring sessions. And thank you for watching this video. The next video that is part of this session just reviews the lab, so please take a look at that.